So there is something which seems to be a never-ending problem in the workplace everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, women don't seem to fit very well. You see this by simply looking at numbers, female employment rates in every country in the world. They are below male employment rates, and they don't look like improving very much. According to the World Economic Forum, it will take 100 years to get to gender equality with this pace that we have. But if you look at research, you also find out the real problem seems to be motherhood. All women, whether they are mothers or not, they are paying the fee for potentially being mothers. So there is a so-called motherhood pay gap. The fact that we have children, and for now it seems like there is no other way of reproducing the species, then this means that we must have problems at work, or we are a problem at work. But the good news that we're starting to see now is that we are not alone. Some other people seem to be a little stressed around. First of all, productivity, despite all the technology investment we're having, is still flat. So productivity rates are not increasing. And there is a declining engagement from people in the workplace, and this has high costs. And moreover, well-being, burnout costs are extremely high everywhere in the world. So this is not just about mothers, this is not just about women, but the most studied generation of all times, millennials, we know everything about them, they will be 75% of the workforce in 2025, so in 7 years' time. And already now, 50% of them define themselves as working parents, as their primary identity. So they recognize themselves as working parents. So we could say that basically mothers and women have just been the first and more visible phenomenon of something bigger, which is that it looks like it's life that does not fit at the moment. Life is not fitting at work. So this is, in a way, the problem that we're addressing. What is the need? We have been talking today about this. It seems like if we want to stay competitive as a human species in the market, we have to really exploit and improve our soft skills, because that's where it looks like artificial intelligence can't really cope at the moment, can keep up. So the World Economic Forum recently launched this video about, okay, what are these 10 skills? How do we develop them? Would you think that this translates into more trainings? So we add to the overall work-life balance issue that we have also more and more trainings. And do corporate trainings actually work? Please raise your hand if you think that the way we learn, the learning and development method we have at work does actually work well, especially for teaching soft skills. That's a good question. Actually, it seems like it doesn't really work. So learning and development as it is now is just adding more things. And how do we know it? Because, for example, we are seeing that informal learning is now taking the lead. People want to learn in more informal ways, in more practical ways. They want to learn through micro-learning, so micro-learning sessions everywhere, connected possibly to what I'm doing at the moment. And more important, people don't learn if the subjects are not relevant to them. They have to be engaged. They have to see the utility value of what they're learning. And taking them into a classroom for a whole day to practice crisis management with a flight simulator doesn't really engage them, doesn't really relate to their reality, their everyday reality. So, what is the new framework that I'm proposing to you? Oscar Wilde used to say, experience is the hardest kind of teacher. It gives you the test first and the lesson afterward. So the change of framework could be, what if we get the lesson first, and then life becomes this way a unique opportunity to develop skills? This is what we call in MAAM life-based learning. So basically we reframe the situation. We give knowledge first and theory first to people, and then we invite them to practice in real life without adding extra time to learning and development. And this is what happens when you actually do this. This kind of learning is inclusive, it's democratic, it's open to everybody. You don't need to be a manager to have this kind of learning. And this kind of learning is ecological, meaning that you use what you have at hand best, and you don't waste it. At the moment we're wasting so much resources. And that's the reason why we are proud that we've been listed by McKinsey in a Ashoka report about Skilling Challenge as one of the 10 worldwide best practices in new learning ways. 4,000 people today are doing this learning, which is a digital platform in Italy with 40 companies. And what they're telling us is that this kind of learning works very well, first of all, because it's relevant to them. It's connected to their real life, everyday experience, daily practice. Secondly, because they can see the utility value of what they're doing every day, immediately. They see how if they listen in a different way to their children, maybe they can take some listening behaviors from their work practice and take it home and listen different to their children. Or they can take some negotiation behavior from home and take them at work. If you can handle a difficult boss, maybe you can also handle a difficult child. So this kind of experience is really shows immediate utility value for them, and that's why they keep on learning. And third, do we have an alternative? I mean, work has already contaminated life. Why don't we let life contaminate work? Maybe this would make everything a little bit more fun and lighter. So what I really think is that new ways of working really require new ways of learning. And I think this is a very good time for starting this. Thank you so much.